The holiday season of 2024 will be remembered for more than just festive cheer. It will be etched in history as a time when workers across the nation stood up for their rights and demanded change. On December 19th, a historic event unfolded across America. The Teamsters Union launched its largest strike ever against retail giant Amazon. This was not just a moment of defiance, but a powerful statement against the status quo. This wasn't just a regular strike, it was a sign of growing unrest among workers seeking fair treatment and better conditions from one of the world's most powerful companies. The workers were no longer willing to accept the bare minimum. They wanted their voices heard and their demands met. This strike, spanning 7 key Amazon facilities and amplified by demonstrations at hundreds more, sent shockwaves through the nation. It was a coordinated effort that showcased the unity and determination of the workforce. It marked an escalation in the ongoing tug-of-war between Amazon and its massive workforce. The workers were pulling with all their might, determined to shift the balance of power. At the heart of the issue was Amazon's refusal to negotiate a labor contract with the Teamsters, a move that ignited a firestorm of protest. The workers felt betrayed and were ready to fight for their rights. The Teamsters, representing nearly 10,000 Amazon workers across 10 facilities, had set a clear deadline of December 15th for Amazon to come to the negotiating table. This deadline was a critical moment, a line in the sand that Amazon chose to ignore. This deadline was met with silence, pushing workers to take a stand. The lack of response from Amazon only fueled their determination, making them more resolute in their cause. From the warehouse floors of Staten Island, where a historic union victory had been won in 2022, to the delivery routes crisscrossing the country, a wave of discontent was building. The echoes of past victories inspired the workers to believe that change was possible. This strike wasn't just about numbers, it was about the human faces behind the Amazon logo. Workers like you and me demanding respect and dignity in their workplace. It was a fight for a better future, not just for themselves but for all workers across the nation. For years, tensions had been simmering between Amazon and its workforce. The relationship between the company and its employees had always been fraught with challenges, but recent years had seen these issues intensify. The demands of the job, the relentless pace and the constant pressure to meet ever-increasing quotas had taken a toll. Workers were pushed to their limits, often feeling like cogs in a vast, unfeeling machine. Workers complained of grueling hours, inadequate breaks, and a work environment that often felt dehumanizing. The physical and mental strain was palpable, with many employees feeling they had no recourse. The COVID-19 pandemic had only exacerbated these issues. With the world in lockdown, the demand for Amazon services skyrocketed, placing even more pressure on the already strained workforce. Deemed essential workers, Amazon employees found themselves on the front lines, risking their health and well-being to keep the company's massive delivery network running. The fear of contracting the virus added another layer of stress. Yet despite the risks they faced, many felt undervalued and underappreciated by their employer. The lack of adequate protective measures and hazard pay only deepened their sense of frustration and neglect. The Teamsters Union became a beacon of hope for many Amazon workers. With a history of securing strong contracts and advocating for workers' rights, the union offered a glimmer of possibility for change. Known for its strong contracts with companies like UPS, the union promised a path to better pay, improved working conditions, and a voice in the workplace. For many, joining the union felt like the first step towards reclaiming their dignity. However, Amazon, known for its staunch opposition to unionization efforts, seemed unwilling to engage in meaningful dialogue. The company's resistance was a significant hurdle for the workers' movement. The December 15th deadline set by the Teamsters was a line in the sand, a clear message that workers would no longer be ignored. It was a bold move, signaling their determination to fight for their rights. When Amazon failed to respond, the stage was set for a confrontation that would have far-reaching consequences. The workers' resolve was unshaken, and the impending clash promised to be a pivotal moment in the ongoing struggle for labor rights. Among the thousands of workers who walked off their jobs on December 19th was Sarah, a single mother of 2 who worked as a packer at Amazon's Staten Island warehouse. Sarah had been with the company for over 5 years, working tirelessly to provide for her family. Despite her dedication, she struggled to make ends meet, often working long hours with little time for her children. "I'm striking for my kids," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. She explained how the long hours and demanding work conditions left her exhausted, with barely any energy to spend quality time with her children. "I want them to have a better future, a future where they don't have to work themselves to the bone just to make ends meet." Sarah's dream was simple: a life where her children could pursue their passions without the constant worry of financial instability. John, a driver based in Southern California, echoed Sarah's sentiments. He had been with Amazon for 3 years, driving long routes with minimal breaks. "I'm tired of being treated like a robot," he said, his face etched with frustration. John described the relentless pressure to meet delivery quotas, often at the expense of his own well-being. "We're the ones who make this company run, but they treat us like we're disposable." The workers' collective voice grew louder, demanding fair treatment and recognition for their hard work. These personal stories put a human face on the strike, reminding the world that this was not just a labor dispute, but a fight for dignity, respect, and a better future. The strike was a powerful testament to the workers' resilience and their unwavering hope for a better tomorrow. In the face of the largest strike in its history, Amazon's response was swift and calculated. The company downplayed the strike's impact, assuring customers that operations were running smoothly and that holiday deliveries would not be affected. Amazon also disputed the Teamsters' claims, arguing that many of the striking drivers were not technically Amazon employees, but independent contractors working for third-party delivery firms. This legal gray area, long exploited by gig economy companies, became a central point of contention in the dispute. Despite Amazon's attempts to project an image of normalcy, the strike clearly rattled the company. The sight of picket lines outside its facilities, coupled with the widespread media coverage, threatened to tarnish Amazon's carefully crafted public image. Section 5. The Teamsters fight more than just a paycheck. For the Teamsters union, the strike was about more than just wages and benefits. It was about challenging Amazon's power and setting a precedent for workers across the country. "This is a fight for the soul of America," declared Teamsters General President Sean O'Brien. He accused Amazon of insatiable greed and of pushing workers to their limits. O'Brien vowed that the union would not back down until Amazon agreed to negotiate a fair contract. The Teamsters' demands went beyond just pay increases. They also sought improved working conditions, including more reasonable quotas, adequate break times, and greater protection for worker safety. Section 6. A legacy of labor disputes. The Teamsters' strike against Amazon was not an isolated incident. It was the latest chapter in a long and contentious history of labor disputes in the United States. From the Pullman strike of 1894 to the air traffic controllers' strike of 1981, American workers have a long tradition of fighting for their rights. In recent years, the labor movement has seen a resurgence, fueled by growing income inequality, stagnant wages, and a sense that the American dream is slipping out of reach for many. The COVID-19 pandemic further highlighted the plight of essential workers, many of whom risked their lives while earning poverty wages. Section 7. Will holiday packages arrive? As the strike dragged on, consumers across the country began to worry about the potential impact on their holiday deliveries. Would their gifts arrive on time? Would they have to scramble for last-minute presents? While Amazon maintained that it had sufficient capacity to handle the holiday rush, some industry experts expressed skepticism. They warned that a prolonged strike could lead to delays and disruptions, particularly in certain regions heavily reliant on Amazon's delivery network. Section 8. The legal battlefield. The Teamsters' strike against Amazon also played out in the courts. The union filed several legal challenges against the company, alleging unfair labor practices and illegal attempts to stifle unionization efforts. One key battleground was the status of Amazon's delivery drivers. The company argued that these drivers were independent contractors, not employees, and therefore not entitled to the same labor protections. The Teamsters countered that Amazon exerted significant control over its drivers, dictating their routes, setting their schedules, and even monitoring their performance through sophisticated tracking technology. Section 9. A turning tide? The Teamsters' strike against Amazon marked a pivotal moment in the ongoing struggle for worker rights in the 21st century. It showed that even a behemoth like Amazon could be challenged by a united workforce. The strike also highlighted the growing public support for unions. In an era of soaring CEO pay and widening income inequality, many Americans view unions as a vital counterweight to corporate power. Whether the Teamsters strike will lead to lasting change at Amazon remains to be seen. However, one thing is certain: the strike has ignited a national conversation about the future of work and the need for a more just and equitable economy.